بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على سيد الرسل وخاتم الأنبياء وعلى آله الأزكياء وأصحابه الأتقياء أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر صدق الله العظيم. Last week we discussed, in the previous weeks before last week, past 2-3 weeks, we were discussing some of the stories and incidents and kind of drawing the background of the life of the Prophet ﷺ after the first revelation. So the sacrifices the companions made, along with also the sacrifice the Prophet ﷺ made, how the kuffar and they tried to punish the Prophet ﷺ and tried to torture the Prophet ﷺ and the companions and their names and what happened to them. So we went through a brief kind of drawing the picture. So now we come back actually into the, inshallah, from now until the end, inshallah, we'll now be back to years again. So we'll go in a systematic order again, from years, concentrating on years of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. So today, inshallah, we start from 5 years before the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina Munawwara. 5 years before migration means the 7th year of Nabuwah. So before migration, after the Prophet ﷺ's birth until Wahi. After the Prophet ﷺ's birth, from the moment he was born until Wahi, commonly they would refer to dates by the Amul Fil. That, for example, this Amul Fil 20 years after the year of the story of the incident of the elephants, because that incident took place the year the Prophet ﷺ was born in. After Wahi took place, after the Prophet ﷺ was, the Quran was revealed onto him the first time, the famous story of Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. From that point onwards, until the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina Munawwara, history was recorded by Sanatun Nabuwah, meaning that, for example, first year Nabuwi, second year Nabuwah, third year Nabuwah, fourth year Nabuwah. So the Prophet ﷺ, he remained in Makkah Mukarramah until he migrated to Medina Munawwara for how many years? 13 accurately, okay? So that means, from the year of the Prophet from his age of 40 until 53, we record this time by Nabuwah. For example, saying first year Nabuwi. So this incident took place in the 7th year Nabuwi. 7th year Nabuwi, meaning 7 years after the Prophet ﷺ was given prophethood. Now, from that point onwards, after migration until the Prophet ﷺ passed away, that 10-year period is referred to the Hijri. So from that point onwards, all the incidents that took place in the life of the Prophet ﷺ were always recorded by year of Hijrah. For example, they say 4th year Hijri, 5th year Hijri, 6th year Hijri, meaning 6th year after the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina Munawwara. And then from that point onwards, even till today, we refer to the Islamic calendar goes by Hijri. The year after the year is recorded by since the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina Munawwara. From that year onwards, the years are recorded. Now, before we carry on, one thing I'd like to say that, inshallah, I will try my best to convey the message today to the best of my ability, but I'm feeling a little weak today. And I was actually thinking in two minds whether we should actually conduct the program today or cancel it for next week. Then I remembered one incident of our teacher. Our teacher once told us one story. Our teacher, Mani Mutala Sahib, he taught us Sahih al-Bukhari. He was our teacher of Bukhari. His teacher, his name was, our teacher, he studied Sahih al-Bukhari by Mana Zakaria Kandalvi rahmatullahi alayh, the writer of Fadhal Amal. And he once narrated an incident of his sheikh. That one time Mana Zakaria rahmatullahi alayh was going for class. And what happened was, while he was going for class, he saw one of the teachers were not in class. So then he asked, because he was a principal at the same time too, so while he was going for class, he was looking in the classrooms whether all the classes were filled or not. So he saw one classroom was empty. So then he asked the teachers that, where's this teacher gone? He asked the people that, where's this teacher? So they said he's sick. So Mana Zakaria said, okay, let's go visit him. It's a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to go visit someone that's sick, so let's go and visit him. So this is a sunnah that doesn't exist in today's day and age anymore. Hardly, the youth have no idea this is even a sunnah. That someone that's sick, we go and visit the person. Take him a little gift, talk with him, sit with him for a little while. I said little while. You're not supposed to stay long with someone, and also not supposed to eat their food too. It's makruh to do that. To give the person who's sick, give him difficulty. So now our teacher said, said, let's go visit the teacher that's sick. So they went to the room where the teacher was, and he asked the teacher what happened. So the teacher said, I have a fever. So he said, what's your fever? He said, I have a fever of 99 degrees. So I have a really high, very hot fever. I can't control myself. I have a headache and everything. So Imam Zakaria rahmatullahi alayhi, he was in a wheelchair. He said to the person that, do you have a thermometer here? He said, yes, I do. So give me the thermometer. So he took the thermometer and told one of the khadim, one of the people that were with him, that put the thermometer in my mouth. So when they put the thermometer in his mouth and they checked his temperature, he was at 103. He said that, but however, for the sake of deen, he goes, my sacrifice is such that not a day can be missed for teaching, for lessons. You cannot miss a single day for teaching. Now himself, he had 103 degrees, but yet he was going to teach. A person that knows what a 103 degrees, fever is like. SubhanAllah, it shows how weak the human being's body is. Just a few degrees up and down, and in total chaos. Our other teacher, Mufti Shabir Sahib, the day of his marriage, he taught hadith that day too. The day he was getting married, that night was his nikah, and the next day was his walima. The nikah day and the walima day, both days he taught hadith, and then he went for the marriage. And the night he got married, that was the first night he spent with his family. The next morning he was in hadith class again teaching. The next morning he went in hadith class teaching again. He had his walima, and next day he was teaching again. So these were people that, subhanAllah, hadith was something that was beyond, something that had so much value for them, the life of the Prophet, ilm of deen. May Allah grant us all this knowledge and this love for deen too. These stories are easy to say, but imagine that, subhanAllah. Mana Yunus Jaunpuri. After Mana Zakaria rahmatullahi alayhi passed away. And while he was alive, when his eyes became very weak, Mana Zakaria rahmatullahi alayhi, the same writer for that Amal, when his eyes became weak, he decided to stop teaching Sahih al-Bukhari. Because he was a teacher of Sahih al-Bukhari for many years. So he decided that, he was going to stop teaching. But then our teacher, Maulana Yusuf Mutala Sahib, he joined Sahih al-Bukhari, he joined his final year of Alim course that year. That he started studying Sahih al-Bukhari that year. The year Maulana Zakaria rahmatullahi decided to stop teaching. So because of our teacher, he decided to teach one more year, because they were very close. Our teacher, he was a student at the time, but he was very beloved to his teacher, Maulana Zakaria rahmatullahi. So Maulana Zakaria rahmatullahi, he decided to teach for one more year. And after that year, he never taught Sahih al-Bukhari ever again in a class format. So he asked our teacher when he decided to leave teaching, when he decided to leave his post, that who should step next into post? Who should be the next teacher after me in this great Saharanpur? Saharanpur, in India there are two famous schools. One is Darul Uloom Deoband, the very famous, the mother school in India, the first school, first Islamic institute as a madrasa form in India, and the second was Saharanpur, Mazahir Ulum, Saharanpur there. So now this is such a big school, and Maulana Zakaria rahmatullahi is now stepping down from his post. So it says that so then he questions our teacher that you give me advice who should be the next person that teaches in my place. So our teacher said that the next person that should teach after you should be none other than Maulana Yunus Jaunpuri. Maulana Yunus. He's Sheikh Yunus, otherwise known as. He still teaches till today. Alhamdulillah, I had the chance to visit him many times in Hajj. So Sheikh Yunus, the unique thing how he was actually put into place after Maulana Zakaria rahmatullahi, the main reason was why he was chosen after Maulana Zakaria rahmatullahi was that he refused to get married because of his love for hadith. He felt that if he got married, he wouldn't be able to devote as much time to hadith as he's supposed to give. People, the big discussion whether a person should get married to two wives or one wife. And the wife is always saying that that if you marry a second, you're not going to give enough time to me. So this was his mentality, that I've already given enough, I've already devoted my life to the sake of hadith. I can't get married again. Because many nikah to maine hadith se kar liya. I've already married my life, given my life for the sake of hadith. I can't get married now because then I won't be able to give the responsibility to hadith. Until this day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this person, He's given him such power that till this day, he hasn't been married. He's not married even till today. The individual is still alive and alhamdulillah still giving his life for the sake of hadith. Now ask a youth, ask someone young, the 25, 20, 18, that if you were told to sacrifice your life, sacrifice marriage for the sake of hadith, that puts you into context of how much love this person actually had for the sake of hadith. Not only is it pressure, one thing is your parents pressure you that okay, you can't get married until you finish off med school. That's pressure. But one thing is you say that, I'm not going to do it. Because I want to get married. I won't get married because of the sake of hadith. My love for the sake of deen is so much that I'm going to sacrifice all my time for the sake of deen. And he's not the only individual that actually sacrificed his life for the sake of hadith. Also Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi, we always commonly hear Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi. He also sacrificed his life for the sake of deen, and he did not marry his entire life. Because he said himself that I had given my life for the sake of hadith. I can't give any other responsibilities. Sheikh Abu Fattah Abu Ghudda, rahmatullahi alayhi, the great scholar, he actually wrote a whole book, Al-Ulama Al-Uzzab. What was the book? Al-Ulama Al-Uzzab. All those scholars who did not, الَّذِينَ أَثَرُوا عَلَى الْحَدِيثِ عَلَى النِّكَاحِ. Something that the meaning more or less like this. Meaning that those people those ulama who sacrifice and give preference to hadith over marriage. And he wrote a whole book on all their names. Who are the people? So khair, coming back to the main point, that there were people that had so much love for the sake of hadith that, the poet says, أُحِبُّ الصَّالِحِينَ وَلَسْتُ مِنْهُمْ لَعَلَّ اللَّهَ يَرْزُقُنِي صَلَاحًا. That I'm not pious, but however, I love the pious people. I have umeed and hope in Allah that one day it might just happen that I'll also stand on the line of the, I might stand on the line of the pious people, inshallah, on the Day of Judgment. So, coming back to our topic today, inshallah. So, in the 5th year before Hijrah, meaning the 7th year of Nabuwah, the kuffar, the people of Quraysh, they came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that if you show us one miracle that we have, one demand that we have, we're ready to accept Islam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, what is your demand? What miracle do you want to see? So they said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the miracle we want to see is we wish for you to point to the moon and split the moon into two. The Prophet ﷺ asked them that, are you going to accept Islam if I do it? They said, oh Rasulullah ﷺ, definitely we will accept Islam if the moon splits into two. The Prophet ﷺ made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after this he raised his finger to the sky, pointing towards the moon. And in front of the people that were standing there, the moon split into two. One portion of the moon was above one mountain, and the other portion of the moon was above another mountain. So there were two mountains there, and the moon split so widely that one portion was above one mountain and another portion was above another mountain. The moon went so far away. And the people of Quraysh, they were looking at this and they were shocked. It comes in the narration that the people were actually taking their cloth and rubbing their eyes. Am I seeing what I'm seeing? And it stayed like this for how long? For the period that remains between Maghrib and Asr and Maghrib. Usually between Asr and Maghrib you have an hour, roughly an hour time period, probably just over an hour. So that's how long this mu'ajizah remained for. For roughly an hour, one moon was above one mountain, and one portion of the moon was above one mountain, and the other portion of the moon was above another mountain. Now the kuffar, they said to the Prophet ﷺ that you're a magician. What did they say? اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر وإن يروا آيتين يعرضوا ويقولوا سحر مستمر. What did they say to the Prophet ﷺ? You're a magician. So then they said to the Prophet ﷺ that you can only do magic on the people that are in front of you. You can only do magic on the people that are in front of you. So let the people let the next batch of travelers that arrive in Medina, Makkah Mukarramah, we'll ask them if they saw it too. If they saw it, then obviously there's no magic involved, because you didn't do magic on those people that you don't even know of, with the people that are traveling. You can't. So the Prophet ﷺ, he agreed. He said, okay, next people that come, we'll ask them. So the next batch of people that came into Makkah Mukarramah, the kuffar, they ran to them. And they said to these travelers that, did you see what happened a few nights ago, the moon splitting into two? Did you see what happened? They didn't mention the miracle. Did you see what happened? So the people said, of course we did. We also saw the moon split into two. So then the Prophet ﷺ, he said to the people, Ishhadu, Ishhadu. Come on, testify now. Testify now, read your shahada. But they refused to read their shahada. And this was such a miracle that I remember our teacher of hadith, Mawlana Yusuf Mutala Sahib again, who taught us Sahih al-Bukhari, our teacher was also a great historian. He was a great historian. And he actually wrote a book on the history of Gujarat. Gujarat is actually a state in India. And he wrote a whole book of history. I think it's called Tarikh Ahmadabad. The history of the capital of Gujarat, Ahmadabad. He wrote history on the whole Gujarat. And in this history, he actually mentioned that how India, the area of Gujarat, there were 4 Ahmads that came there, 4 people by the name of Ahmads, by the name of Ahmad, and how a great incident that took place. These 4 individuals, they came and they spread Islam throughout the area. And initially, the whole Gujarat was all Muslim. Therefore, Ahmadabad, the capital of the state of Gujarat, is named Ahmadabad. What does Ahmadabad mean? Nowadays they call it Ahmedabad, but it's not Ahmedabad, it's actually Ahmadabad. Ahmadabad means the place that was basically populated by a person by the name Ahmad. The first person to come here, his actual name was Ahmad. So he said that once I was reading the books of history of India, our teacher was telling us this. So when I was reading the book, while I was reading some history book, he actually mentioned the king's name. He said, I came to a little diary of a king. There was a king of India, he had a diary. He said, I was reading through his diary for history references. And while I was reading through it, he said that the king said that one night I was sitting outside with my wife, and I was in the king's in India. He said that while I was sitting there outside, I saw the moon split into two. When I saw the moon split into two, I said to my people, that what is this? So they said that we have no idea. So then he told his people that if the moon is splitting into two, there's someone who's doing this. So go and find out what is the event, why did this happen. So he sent a batch of people to go and basically take their boats to the corners of the world and go find out the reason for this. The reason for the moon splitting into two. So now these people, they began to search and search and search until finally they found out that the source of this was in Makkah Mukarramah. So they arrived to the Prophet ﷺ, and the king also sent some gifts to the Prophet ﷺ. He narrated the whole incident, khair, just referring to how this miracle did not only take place. The miracle wasn't something that just happened to the eyes. Magic is something that's done upon the eyes. But the miracle of the Prophet ﷺ was a reality, and was seen in the four corners of the world that the moon was split into two. Now these people, it was in their taqdeer, or I don't know if I wouldn't like to say, I mean, how could it be that a person can see such a miracle, but they could not see it, they could not accept Islam? Their intentions were never clear, therefore they were never guided. So this was one miracle of the Prophet ﷺ that took place in the 7th year of Hijri, referred to Shaqul Qamar, the moon splitting into two. Now another miracle that's also related to, basically it's a similar miracle, but did not take place in the 7th or 8th year Hijri, it took place afterwards, was a miracle that we refer to as Raddu Shams. It's a similar miracle, that's why we'll just mention it now. Then inshallah when that time comes we'll mention it again. The miracle of Raddu Shams. The miracle of Raddu Shams is when the Prophet ﷺ was with Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh, and the Prophet ﷺ was leaning on Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh, in one narration on the lap of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh. Basically the Prophet ﷺ was with Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh. And it was Asr Salah time, and revelation began to reveal, wahi began to reveal unto the Prophet ﷺ. Now why this wahi was revealing unto the Prophet ﷺ, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh couldn't move, because the Prophet ﷺ was on him. And the Quran is being revealed unto the Prophet ﷺ. His salah time was passing by until the Prophet ﷺ, when the revelation, when the wahi finished, he asked Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh, that did you pray your Asr Salah? Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh said, oh Prophet ﷺ, I wanted to pray, but you were on my body and the Quran was being revealed and I couldn't move. It was against manners, against etiquette, and physically there's so much weight on me that I couldn't move. So the Prophet ﷺ, realizing that Asr Salah time had now finished and it was Maghrib Salah time had started, and as Ali radiallahu anh had missed his prayer for the sake of the Prophet ﷺ, for the sake of deen, so the Prophet ﷺ, he raised his hands, he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, this servant of yours made a sacrifice for the sake of deen, and he missed his first salah because of wahi. So we ask you, and we pray to you to return back the sun, to bring Asr Salah time back again. So before their eyes, as Asma bint Umays radiallahu anha, she says, the sun came back, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu prayed his salah, and then the sun went back again, and Maghrib Salah time entered again. This was a miracle that took place at the time of the, subhanAllah, look at the miracles of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Very unique. Now this incident, there were muhaddithin that came and they classified this incident as mawdu', as fabricated. Amongst them the likes of Ibn al-Jawzi rahmatullahi alayhi and Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi. They claim that, and they according to their studies, that this incident of Raddu Shams, the sun returning back after setting, is fabricated, mawdu'. There's no basis to this. However, on the other side, there were scholars like Imam Tahawi rahmatullahi alayhi, who said not only is this hadith proved, but it is a sahih hadith. Imam Tahawi rahmatullahi alayhi was another muhaddith, and he was a great muhaddith of his time. He wrote a book called Sharh Ma'an al-Athar on hadith, all authentic hadith in there. And he writes that, not in this book, but he says that the incident of Raddu Shams is proven, it is narrated with sahih hadith. Allama Zurqani rahmatullahi alayhi, in his work of hadith, he also writes that this is authentic hadith, there is no fabrication in this hadith at all. And above all this, Imam Suyuti rahmatullahi alayhi, we made a mention of Imam Suyuti last week. Do you recall Imam Suyuti rahmatullahi alayhi, the individual who wrote the 15 juz tafsir in 40 days? He wrote tafsir of 15 juz of the Quran in 40 days. This individual, Imam Suyuti rahmatullahi alayhi, in Rad, or basically to answer Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi and Ibn al-Jawzi rahmatullahi alayhi, he wrote a whole book on this hadith. He wrote a whole book on this hadith, proving how this hadith is sahih. The title was something, if I'm correct, that Kashful Lubs al Hadith Raddu Shams, something like this. He wrote a risala, a whole book on proving how this hadith is sahih. So khair, anyway, this is the second miracle that kind of relates to this, how the sun returned for Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu to pray his salah. Now the third incident that also kind of related to this is what we call Habs al-Shams. So the first was Shaqul Qamar. Shaqul Qamar was when the moon split into two. The second was Raddu Shams. Raddu Shams is when the sun came back after setting. And the third is what we call Habs al-Shams. Habs al-Shams is the incident that where the Prophet ﷺ, when he came back from Mi'raj, when he came back from the ascension to the skies, when he returned back to Makkah Mukarramah, he told the people of Makkah the whole incident. The people of Makkah, they asked the Prophet ﷺ for many proofs. The Prophet ﷺ told them many proofs. And then he said that I actually went, He also told them that when I was going for the Mi'raj to Bayt al-Maqdis, from Makkah Mukarramah to Bayt al-Maqdis, there was a caravan that was traveling. And my proof that I went to Bayt al-Maqdis is that this caravan, by calculating where they were at the time, they should arrive in Makkah Mukarramah on this day at this time. They should arrive in Makkah Mukarramah on this day. So the people of Quraysh, they said, okay, let's wait to see if the caravan comes. If the caravan comes, we'll accept. But these people were never to accept anyway. They were just challenging. And every time they were proven wrong, they would just go back to their old ways again. So they were waiting now for this caravan to arrive in Makkah Mukarramah. And the Prophet ﷺ, the day he gave, was now passing out. Maghrib Salat time was coming in. And the caravan hadn't arrived yet. So the Prophet ﷺ, he raised his hands, he prayed to Allah, oh Allah, until the caravan doesn't come, don't let the sun set. And the sun, it stopped in its place, Habs al-Shams, it stopped in its place until some time passed by, the caravan came, and then the sun set. So this is another third miracle that kind of relates to this. However, according to a majority of the muhaddithin, all the narrations that support this incident are weak. All the narrations that support this incident of Habs al-Shams are weak. So now, so these were some incidents. Shaq al-Qamar was actually the main incident that I was indicating towards that took place in the 7th year Hijri, 5 years before Nabuwah. Now, after this incident took place, what happened was some of the companions, the torture was increasing. They were being punished throughout the streets of Makkah Mukarramah by the kuffar, and the sacrifices they were making. They had families, they had children, they had wives. So finally, they took permission, and the Prophet encouraged the companions to migrate from the city of Makkah Mukarramah. So the first place the companions actually migrated from Makkah Mukarramah was to Habsha, Abyssinia. These companions, they left Makkah Mukarramah and they arrived in Abyssinia. Now, whenever we say migration or hijrah, we have to understand how great this word is. Migration doesn't mean going on a field trip or going on a holiday, or just because you're tired of one place, you got a better job somewhere else, you're going to go there, or just because the gas is cheaper there, or the food's cheaper there, you're going to go there, or you're going to India because whatever fortune you earned in 10 years, you can go and blow it all the way there, enjoy your life there now, build a nice big palace and enjoy your life. This is not migration. Migration means that every single thing you've earned throughout your life, you will now leave it behind. They couldn't pick up their house and take it with them. They didn't have money where they can carry, all the money together. A lot of their money was in products, and it was in camels, was in goats, was in cows. I mean, whatever the value was, whatever they dealt it. So when migration was involved, first of all, it meant that you were now running away from the enemy. So the enemy wouldn't let you take things. So much stuff, because if you were running from the enemy and the enemy is following you up, obviously if you had a lot of things, that would slow you down. So first of all, they would travel really lightly when they were migrating. So meaning that they would leave everything behind. All their 40, 50 years of earning, they would leave it all behind. That itself is the greatest sacrifice. Now you're leaving your family members behind, your family friends behind. Where you're going, it's not like you have a tour guide there that, okay, I'm going to go to Abyssinia, I'm going to go to Habsha, I'm going to go view this side, view this side, view this side, cheap hotels here, nice cheap houses here, good food here. There was nothing like that. You were going to a place you had no idea where you were going. That itself was another risk. Now when they're leaving, now why are you making such a big risk? You're making such a big risk because the people that you grew up with now don't want you to be there anymore. Now because the people that you grew up with were torturing you. The people that you grew up with, they were doing whatever they could to prosecute you. So all this tension that you're leaving everything behind, you're going to a place where you have no idea what lies there, and why are you leaving? Because if your own family is kicking you out. Now imagine what migration means. So these people, they migrated from Makkah Mukarramah for the sake of deen. Now this tops it all off. This tops it all off. Now why is all this sacrifice being made? For the sake of deen. A person is leaving a house, a $500,000 house behind, like a $60,000 car behind, everything behind. He's leaving everything, going to some from some far away country. Why? For the sake of deen. For the sake of Islam. So now these people, they sacrificed everything. They arrived in Habsha. When they arrived in Habsha, and the people, the Quraysh, the kuffar of Makkah Mukarramah, they realized that the Muslims are now migrating, and they're leaving our torture, and they're going to a peaceful land in Abyssinia. They're living there, enjoying their life there in peace. No one's there to prosecute them. And the Muslims are increasing day by day. So now what they thought, that we have to go and bring those people back. Because if we torture them, the chances are that they either may die, or either they'll give up on what they're doing. But they won't be able to enjoy their religion. The kuffar, they didn't like Muslims enjoying their lives. So they said that we have to do whatever it takes to bring those people back. So the Quraysh, they set 2 people. They assigned 2 people. That we will send you with a pile of gifts. Go to the king of Abyssinia, Najashi, propose all the gifts to him, the people that sit in his court, all of his servants, give all of them our gifts, and then tell them to return back to us the people, the Muslims that have migrated from Makkah to Abyssinia, Habsha. So now these 2 people, they come to Najashi, the king. they tell the advisors of the king that we want to speak to the king. Why do you want to speak to the king? We've come to Makkah Mukarramah, we have people here, and we'd like to claim them back, take them back to our country. Why do you want to take them back? The reason why we want to take these people back is because they've left our religion. They're not following our religion, neither are they following your religion. They've made their own religion, and they should be prosecuted for this. And now what happened was, above this claim, they began to bribe everyone with their gifts. So all the advisors, they said, okay, if you're giving us gifts, and what you're saying, they're not following our religion, they're not following your religion, a new religion, you know what, you guys might as well prosecute them. So now all the advisors, they came to Najashi, and they said to Najashi, that there's two people that have arrived from Makkah Mukarramah, and they want the people of Makkah that have migrated to Abyssinia, take them back. They want to take them back with them. They want to take all of them back, and they do not wish for you to hold a court case. They want no court case at all. They want to take these people and head back to Makkah Mukarramah. Najashi, when he heard this, he said, why do you want to take them back? What did they do? So they said the claim is that these people, they left the religion of their forefathers, and they aren't following your religion either. They have some new religion. So Najashi said, so if they have a new religion, they should be given the chance to bring their case to court. What kind of claim is this that they don't have any right to a case in court? Of course they have a right. Najashi became angry and he said, tell these people that their proposal, the full proposal isn't accepted. The part that we will accept is that we'll give them the chance to come to court, justify themselves. If what they say is convincing, we'll give them the chance to live in Abyssinia. If what they say isn't convincing, we'll return them back to Makkah Mukarramah. So now Najashi, he sends his men, they'll go call the Muslims. So now the messenger, he comes to where the Muslims were all residing. And the Muslims, they are gathered together. What happened? Najashi is calling you. Why is he calling you? Two people from Makkah have come to claim you. Now imagine this. The country, the people that you've been running from. The people that have been torturing you all your life, you've run from them. And now these two animals have come to collect you again. These people have come to take you back to the nightmares that you just left. That you just stepped out of. So the Muslims are all worried. What are we going to say to Najashi? We don't follow his religion. We don't follow their religion. When we mention this new religion to them, we don't even know if they're going to accept. So now they said, okay, let's go to Najashi and we'll see what happens. So now when they're going, Jafar radiallahu anh, the son of Abu Talib, the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says to the people that when we go there, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. When we go to Najashi, when we speak, no sugarcoating at all. We're going to say the facts, lay them down straight. This is the deen of Allah and we won't change anything at all. People, what happens in America commonly, not only in America, in the Western countries, something we don't like or we don't understand, we sugarcoat it right away. That, the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't marry Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha at the age of 8. What happened was that that Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, according to some calculations, some people say she was 16 years old when he married her, some people say she was 18 years old. When the Prophet ﷺ passed away, Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha was 18 years old. He married her at the age of 8, and she came to the house of the Prophet ﷺ at the age of 10 or 11 at that age. The explanations to this are many. But the fact shouldn't be sugarcoated. This is the reality. The other day a scholar came to our masjid and he was saying that the Prophet ﷺ, when he married Hazrat Khadija radiallahu anha, she wasn't 40 years old. She wasn't 45. She wasn't old. She was very young. She was almost the age of the Prophet ﷺ. So why should we sugarcoat deen? People say that the miracle of Shaqul Qamar was a hallucination of the Prophet ﷺ. Wa na'udhu billahi min dhalik. Mi'raj, the Prophet ﷺ didn't go with his body to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't physically go to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was all a big dream. So we learn from the Jafar radiallahu anhu, what did he say? That we do not sugarcoat anything. We will go there and put the facts in front of them. They want to accept, they accept. They don't want to accept. Lakum deenakum waliya deen. You follow your pathway, we follow our pathway. If we are subjected to more torture, for the sake of deen, we will even do this too. So now they arrive in the court of Najashi. These two people of Quraysh, they're sitting there, they're prosecuting the Muslims. And when the Muslims, when they see their face, anger comes into them. And these people, when they see the Muslims, just seeing them again brings a smile to their face that we might just take these people back. Now, the Muslims stand there and Najashi says, give me one spokesman. Who will speak on behalf of you? So Jafar radiallahu anhu was chosen and he stood in front of Najashi. Najashi says, okay, these people have come to take you back to your original country. We will give you one chance to speak in front of us. If you can convince us, we will leave you. Otherwise, you have to go back. So Jafar radiallahu anhu, he gives a speech. He says to Najashi, Ayyuhal Malik, O King, Kunna qawma ahla jahiliyatin. Before I start off and tell you who we are, or what is it that brought us here, why these people are prosecuting us, what our religion is, let me just give you a little background of who we were. And then you can imagine what we are now. You can see the change and figure out what the truth is in the words of the Prophet ﷺ. He says, كنا قوم أهل جاهلية نعبد الأصنام ونأكل الميت ونأتي الفواحش ونقطع الأرحام ونسيء الجوار يأكل القوي من الضعيف ونربي القلب ونقتل الأولاد. He says, let me tell you who we were. First of all, كُنَّا قَوْمَ أَهْلَ جَاهِلِيَّةٍ. We were ignorant people. We were the most ignorant people on the face of this earth, the people of Makkah Mukarramah. All of us that are gathered here, we were the most ignorant people. What did he say? نَعْبُدُ الْأَصْنَامِ. We worship idols. Idols, مَا لَا يَسْمَعُ وَلَا يُبْصِرُ وَلَا يُغْنِي عَنْكَ شَيْئًا. As Ibrahim a.s. said to his father, what did he say? مَا لَا يَسْمَعُ وَلَا يُبْصِرُ وَلَا يُغْنِي عَنْكَ شَيْئًا. يَا أَبَتِ إِنِّي قَدْ جَاءَنِي مِنَ الْعِلْمِ مَا لَمْ يَأْتِكَ فَاتَّبِعْنِي. He said to his father, that how could you worship these idols? They can't hear, they can't see, they can't even guide you. Oh my father, I have knowledge that you don't have, so follow me. So he said to Najashi that we used to worship idols. And how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describe these idols? يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ ضُرِبَ مَثَلٌ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ. That, oh people, Allah is giving you an example. So listen carefully. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. These people, these idols that you worship other than Allah, لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ. You try to compare them with Allah, and you say, these are the Lords, these are the people who created the earth and the sky, and all the things. You say, these are the ones who created? Allah says, how about you gather all of your millions of idols together and ask them to create one fly? لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ. Even if they all got together, they couldn't create one fly. And then Allah says, forget creating a fly. وَإِن يَسْلُبْهُمُ الذُّبَابُ شَيْئًا لَا يَسْتَنْقِذُوهُ مِنْهُ. If the fly came to even snatch something away from them, they couldn't even stop the fly. ضَعُفَ الطَّالِبُ وَالْمَطْلُوبُ. Look how weak the seeker and the one that is seeked is. مَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. Haven't they realized how powerful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is? إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَقَوِيٌّ عَزِيزٌ. This is the power and might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now he said to the Najashi that these were the people that we were. We worshipped idols. As Umar radiallahu anhu, what does he say? That before Islam, one day I was traveling. And while I was traveling, we had our idol with us that we would take with us whenever we would travel. We'd take our idol with us and we'd worship the idol. So while we were traveling, what happened is we lost our idol. So we had nothing to worship now. So he said what happened was that we asked ourselves, what is the most valuable thing that we have right now? So the most valuable thing for a traveler in the desert is food. So they said, okay, what's the best food that we have? A date. So they took the date and they started worshipping the date. He said, now we worship the date until we became our state became so severe that we had to eat that date. So he said, we split the date into pieces and we started worshipping the seed of the date then. So كُنَّا قَوْمَ أَهْلَ جَاهِلِيَّةٍ. These were the people that we were. If we couldn't have, then when the date went, he said when the date seed went, they would crush that and also eat that too. He said when the point came where we didn't even have the date seed anymore, we piled the sand together, we made our camels urinate on that and then we began to worship that too. كُنَّا قَوْمَ أَهْلَ جَاهِلِيَّةٍ. This was our ignorance. نَعْبُدُ الْأَصْنَامِ. We used to worship idols and anything that we could lay our hands onto. This is what we were worshiping. وَنَأْكُلُ الْمَيْتَ. We were eating the carrion, dead meat, anything we found like beast. You know, cavemen. You see a sheep or a deer, get a hold of it, tear it into pieces and start eating it raw. نَأْكُلُ الْمَيْتَ. These were the people that we were. وَنَأْتِي الْفَوَاحِشِ. And we came to immoral things. Anything immoral, we were attracted to it. You know, anything that was against modesty, we were attracted to these things. We misused women, we abused them, and all the things that we did. They had their different ways of marriages. For example, the trade marriage that was very common amongst the people of Makkah Mukarramah. What they would do is that two people would come and they'd swap sisters. That you marry my sister, let me marry your sister. When time was over, they'd give them both a divorce, and then neither this lady would get any mahar, neither would this lady get any mahar, and they were just used like ragdolls. So what does Jafar radiallahu anhu say? He says, نَأْتِ الْفَوَاحِشِ. These were the people that we were. Everything in modest that was in the book, we had done it. وَنَقْطَعُ الْأَرْحَامِ. There was no such thing as value and ties and relations. Our fathers were treated like trash. Our mothers are treated like trash. Our children are treated like trash. We only valued friends and clans. Clan because it was a name. Not because of the love between the families. Just because there was a name. That for example, the Kamani clan. Now if someone touches a Kamani, it's as if the other Kamanis are weak. So I have to stand up now and defend him. Okay? So it was always about name. It was never about love or care for one another. We couldn't care about anyone. نَقْطَعُ الْأَرْحَامِ. And then what does he say? وَنُسِيءُ الْجَوَارِ. And the person that was most closest to us, our neighbors, we couldn't even care about them. We would trash their houses, abuse them too. And then he says, يَأْكُلُ الْقَوِيُّ مِنَّ الضَّعِيفِ. The powerful one, he would come and oppress the weak one. He would beat the weak one up, take his wealth away. You know, robberies. The one that's strong, he takes away everything from the poor one. The one who's powerful, he oppresses the weaker one and takes all of his stuff away. And then he says, وَنُرَبِّ الْقَلْبِ وَنَقْتُلُ الْأَوْلَادِ. That if you want to understand how ignorant we were, نُرَبِّ الْقَلْبِ وَنَقْتُلُ الْأَوْلَادِ. We should take care of dogs and we'd kill our own children. We would take care of dogs. At the other hand, what would we do to our own children? We would kill them. And the very famous incident that the person came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Prophet of Allah, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, make dua for me, that Allah forgives me. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, what happened? What did you do? He said, I committed a very big sin, make dua, Allah forgives me. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, tell me, what was your sin? Very famous incident. So then he says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my sin was that one day, in the days of ignorance, my wife became pregnant. And when she became pregnant, the norm was that if the child was a girl, we would kill them. The girls had no right to live. Only boys would live in their clan. That was something specific with their clan. Not specific, it was also outside their clan, but the people of that clan, they always acted upon this ritual of theirs. So then he said what happened was I had to go for a business trip. When I went on a business trip, during this time, the child was due. So I told my wife that it's a girl. If it's a girl, kill her. If it's a boy, then when we come back, we'll take care of the child together. So then he said that while I was on the business trip, what happened was my wife gave birth to the child. And the child was a girl. So my wife knew that when I would come back, that I would kill the child if she hadn't killed her already. So what she did was she took care of the child, she built a relationship with the child began to love the mother, and the mother began to love the child. And then what happened was that when my time came close to return back, she gave the child to her sister, to her sister. And the child was now living with her sister. Now every now and then, my wife would go and visit the child, and she'd go spend time at her sister's house. She was spending a lot more time at the sister's house. The sister was coming more frequently to our house. And he says that when I came back, I asked my wife the first thing that what happened to our child. So then she said that the child, what happened, I had a miscarriage, the child was born dead, and we buried the child, the child's already dead. So he said she lied to me, and now every day this beautiful child, this beautiful girl would come in our house. Now he said that when I saw this child, I was shocked. Her smile, the necklace that she had around her neck, the way she had her hair braided up. He said when I saw this child, I was mesmerized, I was shocked. Look how beautiful this baby is, look how beautiful this young child is. Until one day he said that this child came running to me when I came home, and it hugged me around the neck, and it began to kiss me. So he said, when that happened, he goes, tears came into my eyes. And I said, only if Allah had given me a child, only if God had given me a baby girl, I would keep this girl and grow her like this too. So when my wife heard me saying this, she said that, I'm going to tell you a little secret. This is our girl right here. So he said, when I saw the girl, I hugged the girl, I kissed the girl, I kept the girl close to me. And he says, this girl was everything in my life. My child was everything. You know how a father, he can work at work, he can stay at work all day and come back home after a hectic day of work and see that baby, hug his child, put the child to his heart, and all the difficulties of life are just, sidelined. Everything's gone. So much love for a child. The mother dies just to see her child. You take a child away from the mother, and the mother won't be able to live. You take a child away from the father. I had one friend. He said that when I first got married, when I used to go for Hajj, the most difficult thing was leaving my wife. He said that when I had a child, the most difficult thing now, forget the wife, now is about the baby. He said when I was going for Hajj, it was no longer any worried about the baby, wife, now it was all about the baby. Every time I'd call home, I wouldn't ask my wife, how are you? How is the baby? So this is how much love a parent has for their child. So now he says, I had this love for my child, and I built this bond with my child. Then every day I would come home, he said the child would come running to me with a smile, and she'd come and hug me every day. He's telling this to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he says one day what happened was, my wife was out, and I told my daughter that let's go visit some relatives. Now I took my young daughter, and we began to walk to the jungle, and I sat her down on a little stone, and I took a spade and I began to dig in the ground. She asked me, Dad, what are you doing? He said, no, I have some work to do. I'm just digging. So he said, I was digging away. Little did the girl know that I was digging her grave. So then the girl says to her dad, you look stressed, you're sweating, and it's so hot, and you're working so vigorously. She said to her dad that, why don't you take a break and let me dig? So she takes a spade and she starts digging. So the father, when he sees that the girl is digging her own grave, he cries and cries and cries and puts her to the side. He said, no, you don't help me in this task. Let me do this myself. So he digs and digs and digs until he has a little hole there in the ground. He takes his daughter, he puts her inside. The daughter said, what are you doing? He refuses to answer to his daughter, and he starts burying her in. He keeps throwing the mud onto the soil onto his girl, until he says that I heard her voices echo into silence. He says, after I finished narrating this incident, I looked up at the face of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ in his entire beard was soaked in tears. So these were the people that Jafar radiallahu anh is describing in front of Najashi. He said, these were the people that we were. This is our history. And then what happened was, Muhammadur Rasulullah happened. Then what happened was, the greatest miracle happened. Then what happened was, the whole world just flipped in seconds. Each of us, one by one, we saw the face, we heard the words, and that was the point of the change of our lives. Now what happens? He says, who are we? Now we are the people that will give our lives, but no one can touch our families. Because we loved them. We are the people that we won't eat food until we say the name of Allah and we slaughter in the correct manner. Who are we now? Anyone that kills another person, his life will be taken in return. He said, who are we now? We are people that are prohibited to even look at the opposite gender. Forget about talking and even, abusing them. Our position is such that what did the Prophet say to Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh? That for you is the first glance, not the second glance. That for accidentally, if someone looks at a girl once, or someone that he's not supposed to look at, or the girl with desire, she looks at the guy. And this by first glance, the Prophet says that move your eyes away immediately. فَإِنَّكَ الْأُولَى وَلَيْسَ لَكَ الْأُخْرَى. That you have the first chance, you don't have the second one though. Because the second time you look, you will have to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first time is a mistake. Now those that are sitting here, the youth will be saying that, okay, the first time I'm just going to put a clip there. I'm not going to let go. So what do the muhaddithin then say? That one glance that is equivalent, that has the period of two glances, that also falls into two glances itself. So that trick's not going to work. So khair. So now he's telling Najashi that this individual came and changed all of our lives. And you can see us that we're changed people. Since we've come, you can ask the people that live around us, surrounding the surrounding communities in Habsha and in Abyssinia, and you will find people who only give us good references. So Najashi said, that's true, I've also heard good things about you. So then he said to Jafar radiallahu anh, that tell me, do you know any portion of the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam off by heart? So Jafar radiallahu anh said, of course I do. If you're asking for the Quran, I can recite you. So then Najashi said, okay, recite to me. So Jafar radiallahu anh started off, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كاف ها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى. The story of the forefathers of Isa alayhi salam. Zakaria alayhi salam, Yahya alayhi salam, Maryam alayhi salam, واذكر في الكتاب Maryam, and then Isa alayhi salam. He began to recite the verses of Isa regarding Surah Maryam. Then he comes to the point that فحملته فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا فأجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا. The Maryam alayhi salam said that when she was pregnant with the baby and she was sitting there, she said يا ليتني مت قبل هذا وكنت نسيا منسيا. Only if I died before this. What happened was that when Jibreel alayhi salam came to Maryam alayhi salam, he said to Maryam alayhi salam, said, move away from me. Inni a'udhu bir-Rahman. I seek refuge in Allah from you. So what did he say? That إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. That I've come to inform you that Allah is going to give you a child. So then she said, how? He said, قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين. That this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show His miracles to you. Allah showed. So then now she's sitting there pregnant with a baby. And this is the verses of the Quran. And she says, يا ليتني مت قبل هذا. What are the people going to say? What's going to happen? I don't know what I'm going to say to the people. Only if I died before this day. وَكُنْتُ نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًا. And I was someone that there was not even a mention of that person. So then what happened was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that tell people when they come to you that if you have any questions, ask the baby. That if you have any questions, any issues with my situation here, don't talk to me, talk to the baby. So the people, they came and they asked, they said to Maryam alayhi salam, Ya ukhta Harun, ma kana abuki imra'a sawin wa ma kanat ummuki baghiya. That your parents, your forefathers were all pious people. What happened to you? How did you become the rotten apple? They called Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam. So what did Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam do? فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ. She pointed towards Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, the young baby, just born. So then they said, قَالُوا كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا. They're arguing with Maryam alayhi salam, that how can we... So they said to Maryam alayhi salam, that how can we talk to a little baby? How can we talk to a child in the cradle? Are you joking with us? So they're mocking Maryam alayhi salam. While they're mocking Maryam alayhi salam, from behind they hear a voice, قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. I am the servant of Allah. آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا والسلام علي يوم ولدت ويوم أموت ويوم أبعث حيا. He gave him the whole statement, the whole speech. That take this. So now when Najashi, when he heard the purity of the Quran, tears came into his eyes, and Jafar radiallahu anhu says, when I finished reciting the Quran, I looked up, and the entire crowd was in tears, and all of the people, and he says Najashi's beard was soaked in tears. Najashi, he was a person of religion. And there is no religion that denies that any prophet, including even the Christians, that prophets do not have beards. You see any statue of Isa alayhi salam, can you ever find a statue of Isa alayhi salam clean shaved? Because this is the sunnah of all Anbiya. And Najashi also had the beard. And it comes to the narration that his beard was soaked in tears. And then he said to the people, he said to the kuffar, the people that came from Quraysh, that there is no way I'm giving these people back to you. Their prophet is speaking the truth, and everything they're saying is the truth. So now the people that were sitting with Najashi, they were shocked. What's Najashi saying? Najashi dismissed the case. Now these two people, they were so upset that we gave him our gifts, we put our honor on the line, our izzat on the line, and he rejected everything. And he refused to even give us these people back. So Amr bin As radiallahu ta'ala, As bin Wa'il, or it was Amr bin As, one of the two, one of the two people that were there, he says that, I said to my companion that tomorrow I'm going to go and I'm going to tell Najashi such a thing that's going to upset him so much that he's going to kick these people out one by one. So his companion said to his friend, that don't say that. He said, why? He said, because there are family members at the end of the day, we don't want to disgrace them. Let them stay there. If they're going to stay, let them stay. They're becoming more lenient, more soft. So the second person said, whatever happens, you know what? I'm going to go and disgrace them tomorrow in front of the king. So he comes in front of the king and he tells the king that, these people, they disrespect Isa alayhi salam. They disrespect Isa alayhi salam. Your prophet or your God, according to them, he said they don't even respect him, they don't even value him, they say bad things about Isa alayhi salam. So now Najashi, he became upset. He said, what are you talking about? He said, go call them again. So now these people, they were called in the court. Again, Jafar radiallahu anhu told the people that don't change our beliefs for their sake. We don't change. We stay firm on our belief. Whatever the Prophet ﷺ told us regarding Isa alayhi salam, this is what we will say. So now he came in front of Najashi, and Najashi said, what do you have to say about Isa alayhi salam? So now Jafar radiallahu anhu, he said, as a spokesman again, that إِنَّهُ عَبْدُ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولُهُ, that he was a servant of Allah, not the son of Allah. And he was the messenger of Allah. He was not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he gave this answer, everyone that was sitting in the court, all the advisors, they were shocked. Their jaws fell. That he just openly, basically now he's going back to his country. And now the two messengers that were sent from the Quraysh, they were smiling. They knew that these people are going to get kicked out now. So now Najashi, he picked up a little pebble from the ground. And he said to the people that were sitting in his court, that what this person just said right now, the truth is not even a little more than this or a little less than this. What they said is 100% true. That innahu abdullahi wa rasul, he is a messenger and servant of Allah. And then he told the people of Makkah that go back to your country, we're not returning these people back. And then what happened was that these people, the companions, they stayed in Abyssinia for many years. And finally, when they found out that the Prophet ﷺ, the companions, were more in a stable state and they were now conquering Khaybar, and basically the conquest began now. So they decided to head back and join again with the Prophet ﷺ. So they came to the last mulaqat, the last visit with Najashi. And Najashi, when he saw these people were leaving, he said he gathered them all together. And he gave them all rides. Basically, he gave them all an animal to ride on. And he gave them enough food for their whole trip. And then at the end, he said to the people that when you go to the Prophet ﷺ, I'm giving you a messenger of mine. And my messenger should testify on how I treated you people when you guys were in my country. And he said he should testify on all the gifts that I gave you guys when you were here and the gifts that I'm sending with you too. And two of my messages that I have, that my messenger will give, and you should also give to the Prophet ﷺ. The first message is, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. And the second message is, a request to the Prophet ﷺ to make istighfar on my behalf. The companions were shocked. They left along with this one messenger from Abyssinia. They came to the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he saw Jafar radiallahu anhu, he got up and he hugged Jafar radiallahu anhu. A very rare incident. The Prophet ﷺ would get up and he would hug someone. And he hugged Hazrat Jafar radiallahu anhu. And then he said to Jafar radiallahu anhu that, I don't know, should I be more happy over the conquest of Khaybar or meeting you today? Then Jafar radiallahu anhu, he said to the Prophet ﷺ that we brought this messenger from Habsha along with us too. And then the messenger, he said to the Prophet ﷺ that the king of Abyssinia has sent me to tell you how he treated your people while they were in Abyssinia. But however, I'd like for you to hear it from your people themselves. So then Jafar radiallahu anhu, he started off by telling the Prophet ﷺ that this is what he did, this is what he did, this is what he did. And at the same time, he read the Shahada, and he also requested you to make dua for him. So then the Prophet ﷺ, he raised his hands and he said, Allahumma gfir li Najashi. 3 times he made the dua. Allahumma gfir li Najashi, Allahumma gfir li Najashi, Allahumma gfir li Najashi. That, oh Allah, forgive Najashi sins, forgive Najashi sins, forgive Najashi sins. And Najashi was the king of Abyssinia, and all the companions that were present, they all said Amin along with the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. Now Najashi, a little side story regarding Najashi. Najashi's father was also the king of Abyssinia. He was the only son to his father. His father had a brother. And basically, Najashi had an uncle. And his uncle had 12 sons. So the people of Abyssinia, they thought that, look, if Najashi's father passes away, the next one in charge is going to be Najashi. Right? And then he doesn't even have any siblings. And if Najashi's uncle isn't living at the time, then we're going to have a whole issue of elections and finding another king, and then basically the kingdom is going to go from one family to another family because they didn't have any queens. So now, because of this, they thought to themselves, they all got together, and they came to Najashi's uncle. And they said to Najashi's uncle that we would like to assassinate your brother. So Najashi's uncle, he agreed. He said, okay, kill my brother, because if you kill his brother, and then the next person in post would be Najashi's uncle, right? Because Najashi was very young at the time. So now they came and they killed Najashi's father. His uncle became in charge. Najashi's uncle took Najashi into his family, and now he had 12 children plus Najashi. He took care of them, and finally what happened was that the people, they came to Najashi's uncle, and they said to Najashi's uncle that, when he becomes mature, he's going to be the king. So then the Najashi said, so what are you guys proposing? They said, we propose we kill him. So Najashi said, no, I will never. Najashi's uncle said, I won't let him be killed. His father was killed on my behalf, on my word, and I've regretted it till today. I can't allow my nephew to be killed. He said, okay, the minimum is that why don't you distance him from your family? So they distanced him from Najashi's uncle's family. Basically, he was kicked out of the kingdom, out of the whole castle and all the royalties. He was basically taken away from all this. When he was taken away from all this, what happened when Najashi's uncle, he passed away. When Najashi's uncle passed away, all of his 12 kids that were alive, they were all immature. They were old in age, were very immature. Now we get 35-year-old people, 35-year-old men with children, spending all their day on Xbox. Or 25-year-old man, or some 22-year-old kid who's, finishing off his bachelor's in college. He should be past that age, way past that age now. And now he's sitting there on Xbox Live and he has the mic in his ear. Shoot him. They're sitting there playing their games. So like that, they also had immature people at that time too. So he's saying to us, so then the people said that we can't have any of these people be the king of our countries because they're all immature people. So finally they agreed to call back Najashi again. And they said to Najashi that you will be our king. And this was the same Najashi that later on accepted Islam. And then when he heard the verses of Surah Yasin, he also cried. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the first verse of Surah, of the 7th juz of the Quran. How does it start off the 7th juz? وَإِذَا سَمِعُوا مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ تَرَى أَعْيُنَهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ مِمَّا عَرَفُوا مِنَ الْحَقِّ. That when they hear that which was revealed unto the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, تَرَى أَعْيُنَهُمْ, you see their eyes, تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ, flowing with tears, مِمَّا عَرَفُوا مِنَ الْحَقِّ, because of the truth they've seen and they've heard now. And then يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا آمَنَّا, that they say, oh Allah, we now accept, and write us with those people who testify in your message. So anyway, so this was the lengthy incident that took place in Abyssinia, how the companions, they lived there, they made their sacrifices. Now, there were two more incidents I wanted to mention. The first was the boycott. Now, after this, what happened was when these two people, they were rejected back to Makkah Mukarramah. When they arrived in Makkah Mukarramah, they said to the people that we were rejected there, there's nothing we can do now. All the leaders, they got together and they thought, what should we do now? How should we torture them? How should we torture them? They came to the conclusion, now the next step we're going to take against these Muslims is by boycotting them. So all the leaders, they sat together and they wrote a treaty. Not a treaty, basically their agreement amongst themselves that from today onwards, we will not deal with the people of the Muslims. We won't deal with them. Our daughters won't be married into their families. Any businessman that comes, we will tell them not to buy or sell to them. Any profit, they're losing the businessmen. We will pay from our pockets, but they can't buy and sell with these Muslims. So now what happened was these Muslims, they now moved to a little valley that Abu Talib had, and they spent 3 years there in this prosecution, in this boycott. And not enough food to eat, not enough water to drink, and a very, very tough time. They had, very difficult years the Muslims had at that time. Now what happened is they wrote this treaty, and they put it inside the Kaaba. The one who wrote the treaty, Allah's punishment came on him immediately. The one who wrote the actual agreement, Allah's punishment came on him immediately, and his hand went paralyzed. He never wrote with that hand ever again. That person never wrote with his hand ever again. So the people of Quraysh, when they saw this happen, they knew that what they were doing wasn't right. But because they were so, ignorant, they were so firm on their wrong opinions, they refused to revoke their agreement. The Prophet ﷺ, along with the companions, they had many difficult days of their life, many difficult days. The companions say that subhanAllah, some of the stories that took place at that time, the sacrifice they made, bring tears to the eyes. So anyway, now what happened was that some of their family members who were not Muslims, they began to sneak food for their family members who were Muslims. Hakim bin Hizam, he began to bring food for his relative, Hazrat Khadija radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sneaking food in. Abu Jahl caught a few of these people. When he caught these people, he began to argue with them. What are you taking? Why are you breaking the treaty? So they began to say that, how could you reject these people? They're human beings. They're going to die of starvation. What are we going to say to our people, to the people around us, the other countries, when they know that we starved our people to death because they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they believe in one Lord? So now, lengthy conversations until what happened was the people, slowly a movement began. The people began to stand up against this agreement. 5 certain individuals, they actually got together and they made a plan. That what we're going to do is we're going to gather all the people of Makkah Mukarramah together. They all get together for an occasion, and then one by one make individual statements that we should end this treaty, end this agreement amongst ourselves. So now the next day came, all the people of Makkah were gathered together. One person stood up and he said, you know what guys, I just have to say something that's been in my heart for a long time. We need to end this oppression amongst on these Muslims. So now he sat down, another person stood up, he said, I second that, we should end this oppression. A third person stood up, 5 people stood up. Abu Jahl said that this is a pre-plan. These guys have all pre-planned this. These guys are planning against us and they're trying to break the strong hold we have against the Muslims. Now, while they were having this conversation, the Prophet ﷺ came to his uncle Abu Talib, and he said to Abu Talib that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just informed me that the letter that was hanging in the Kaaba, their agreement, Allah sent insects to come and eat the entire paper. The only thing that remains is Bismika Allahumma, with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How they started off the letter was with the name of Allah. That's the only 2 words that remain. Everything else has been destroyed. So what happened was, Abu Talib, he came to the Quraysh and he said to them that this is what my nephew is stating. He's saying that Allah just informed him that the entire letter has been decomposed and destroyed except for the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said to the people of Makkah that, look, I have a proposal now. If he's lying, I will bring him and surrender him to you. You guys can kill him if you want to. But if he's speaking the truth, the agreement ends right here. So now the kuffar of Makkah, they could not imagine that happening. It was locked so safely inside the house of Allah, and there was never any incident of insects coming inside the Kaaba. It's something that wasn't imagined. So Abu Jahl openly said, okay, we agreed to it. We're ready to accept. If the letter is there, you will surrender him, and we will kill the Prophet ﷺ. But if the letter is not there, then the agreement comes to an end. They went, they opened the Kaaba. The only thing that remained from the letter was Bismika Allahumma, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything else was destroyed. This treaty, this whole agreement and all this punishment came to an end in the 10th year of Hijri. And in this 10th year of Hijri, now what happens in the 10th year Hijri? So today we covered from the 7th year Hijri till the 10th year Hijri. What happens after the 10th year Hijri, inshallah we will discuss next week. What happened, the great incidents that took place in the 10th year Hijri, the tragical incidents, the very sad incidents that took place in the 10th year of Hijri, and then the great incident as a reward to the Prophet ﷺ that took place in the 10th year Hijri. 10th year Nabawi. 10th year Nabawi, after the Prophet. We haven't moved to Medina Munawwara yet, so we're still in Makkah Mukarramah. So the 10th year Nabawi. This year, just to inform those that are sitting here, is one of the most important years of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. The 10th year Nabawi is one of the most important years of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. The incidents that took place, the sacrifice the Prophet ﷺ made, and some of the greatest, miracles that took place in this year. The 10th year Hijri, the 10th year Nabawi, otherwise known as Amul Huzn, the year of grief of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. So inshallah we'll discuss this next week. If Allah SWT gives us life and the chance to sit together again inshallah next week, we'll discuss this inshallah. May Allah grant us the ability to benefit. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahu wa bihamdihi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk, wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.